Welcome back, everybody, to the next level in the Thunderbird Cup. The Women's Cup final is underway here. We've got Chicago CARFU facing up against Minnesota here for the culmination of this women's tournament. My name is Darian Lovelace, and if you don't know the name, allow me to introduce you to rugby's greatest, Phaedra Knight. Phaedra, big matchup coming up between the two sides here. You watched a lot of it yesterday. Talk us through this matchup.
Yeah, this is going to be a blazing match. No play on words, you Chicago Blaze rugby fans out there, but it will definitely be one of the highlights of the weekend. CARFU, quite impressive yesterday. Incredibly athletic back line in players, like number 15, the fullback, Faith Ladden, track star, All-American. I think we're going to see big things from her. They had really good representation in the loose also from some of their forward players, like number 8, it's Busy, number 1, Nixon, right? So I'm expecting to see good things from both teams, but CARFU's got some really good ammunition, and you can see leading up at front, Nixon at number 1, 2, Corton, and 3, Morwatsky. Coming in the second row, number 19, Rossman and Barry, 5, and then rounding out that back row, Villa Garcia, Busy, and Miller. And then coming in for these really athletic backs, you've got number 9, Faircloth at 9, connecting to 10, Brecky, who was a force yesterday, Eschenbrenner to Barry in that midfield, those power centers. And then in your back row, in the back line, you've got Sandstrom, Layden, and Caldo. And I mentioned Layden earlier. You definitely got to watch her. She's quite dynamic, and she's got speed to burn.
And Minnesota definitely have a lineup of their own. Number 3 there at the front, Bell, former professional American football player. She runs really well, but look for her to connect with Hill Crosby. You've got Burner there in the locks alongside Ush Swanson, and then Kramer, Heldoff, and Viken will round it out in that back row. But the game is really going to be in this backline matchup. Right in leading at the front is going to be Placeway and Swenson at the dynamic scrum half and fly half. But keep an eye for the speed. Roche and Curry are quite the enforcers there in the midfield. And then Hagstrom, Nimpe, and Langelis. Boy, do they know how to score, and they know how to do it with ball in hand. They've got speed to kill, and they've got more than enough capabilities to score for the Minnesota team. Down here in Lamont, Illinois, at Chicago Blaze Stadium, we've got David Zakaria there in at our center ref position. Thumbs up all around, and ball looks like it is about to be in play for this Women's Cup final. CARFU will be the ones to kick off there. Already an error from the jump. The ball does not go the full 10 meters. And Minnesota chooses to scrum down at center pitch.
Yeah, absolutely not the way you want to start the match. Especially, with such a thunderous front row that Minnesota has, and giving them that midfield positioning to attack on both sides. It's pretty dangerous.
Crouch.
But this is where we are.
Bind. Set.
First scrum of the match. And Chicago put on quite the shove there. Picking it up from that backside is Nia Busy. And offloads it to the fullback. All of CARFU standing on their feet here. A nice little cut through the defense. Gets a little bit of some isolation. But Chicago reset. And Nowatsky rumbles forward. All a bit slow to get out. They get tangled in the middle. But they're chipping away at the phases. The possession's good until looks like it might have been a forward pass or a knock-on.
Thanks, Bill.
There for Minnesota, and CARFU get their first scrum at the 40.
Yeah, this is a big opportunity. It's good defense by CARFU. They're coming up nicely on defense, communicating. They have good organization, and just really the pressure, that constant pressure, creating a little bit of wear down. You can see here in that pass, really wasn't very much pressure, but sometimes the thought of the presence of a defender can make you spit the ball up or
Bind.
lose focus.
Set.
2 minutes gone here in this 40-minute half, so a lot of rugby left to play as both teams feel each other out. These select sides, though they probably have played each other in the regular season, this is their first time banding together and making a team. And so the focus now really on the connectivity piece.
Leave now, purple.
As they get close to the 50, a nice little dummy pass on the inside from Vicken. Continues forward. And this defense really coming up into the face now. Minnesota putting them even further back. Now Chicago look to recover. Missing a few tacklers.
Stripped and tackle.
Ultimately, the ball is stripped away right out of the clutches of Chicago. But unfortunately, the turnover happens quickly off of a not releasing penalty. And already, Nia busy. Strings together a few phases. Offload game looking strong for CARFU. Nixon now demonstrating some physicality here. And Phaedra, this defense for Minnesota really containing CARFU.
Yeah, they had a good warm-up with that, Darian, yesterday against Michigan. They found their voice in defense and, at one point thought it would be a shutout. So they definitely come together here on defense today.
Ball goes up and over the head of Nixon. But due to a not rolling away penalty from Minnesota, CARFU look to decide what they're going to do here. We'll take a look at this penalty.
Yeah, it's blatantly obvious. Nothing much to say on that.
You got to roll out of there. Do anything you can, but just laying there is not an option. Building together the phases now. And neither team really being able to make their way into each other's 22. Looking like we're playing a lot of rugby at center pitch. And teams only getting about 5 to 6 meters now. Ball a bit slow to come out. This is some nice little speed, though. That comes in for CARFU. Chicago. Round one corner. They round another.
Time off.
And it looks like referee might have a chat about this one.
What I think I saw was Purple strip the ball in the tackle and touch to the ground. Would you agree or did you see something different?
I didn't see the touchdown. I saw the out. You would have had a better view of the touchdown.
Okay, so we've got blue carried in,
Made
made dead by Purple.
That's right.
Goal line dropout.
That's right.
Guys, we've got a goal line dropout.
Well, Phaedra, what do you think?
I think that's absolutely questionable.
Come on.
I mean, that was
Behind the ball,
actually,
please,
I
ladies.
think that's Langlois for Minnesota Squirrel, they call it. Her effort, even that was a 50-50 call, I think. And because her effort coming in and fighting to the end, I think that was, I don't know, I can go with that call. Absolutely go with that.
I mean, you got to make it so that it's not questionable now whenever you score, because the referees are looking to, keep the ball going and keep the ball in play as much as possible. So in that instance, like you were saying, Phaedra, it's so important for Body to just protect the ball. Don't even let him go over for the chat, especially whenever you had a line break like that. That came from Rossman, the lock, and unfortunately just wasn't able to get over the line there. And off of a goal line dropout,
Advantage purple.
Minnesota recycle. Trying to break out of the 22. They barely get over it.
Back.
They choose to go this weak side. It pays off well for them as Thush Swanson gets them close to the 40.
Advantage gained.
Advantage was given. And now is called off, so it's fair game for both sides here. Choosing to go back on this weak side. Almost knocking it on, but by the tips of her fingers, Swenson's able to pick that one up. It puts a lot of pressure on Minnesota as now they seem to be moving backwards. It looks like we might have had an obstruction call come in against Nowatzki.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. That was some good organized attack that Minnesota was demonstrating. Really good execution and work with their forwards to move that ball. Their backs were nicely lined, but that one miscommunication created that penalty. And CARFU is now has an opportunity. If they can get this ball out to their backs and into space, they could be quite dangerous.
In the line out, please, Blue. 3, right here. Thank you.
Cochran will toss this one in.
Play on.
It sails over the top of CARFU. So they have to recover using some evasive footwork. The fly half in the inside center, by them a few meters. And Nia Busy, who's been very busy with ball in hand. Generated a lot of the go forward for CARFU. Forwards look to slice through one. They're powerful at the point of contact. Barry with that line break. And now things are starting to slow down a bit for Chicago. As they get close to the 22, white line fever starting to set in a bit. They've got to recycle well, and they do. Ball now moving through the hands, getting past one, and then flying through another. Eschenbrenner has to cut back inside. Minnesota do well to recover, though, at the 5-meter line. Ball's a bit slow coming out, and it's through a wide pass that Nowatzki gets it.
Knee hit the ground, 26. Got to release.
And a not releasing penalty from Minnesota. Nia Busy again going to work,
Right there.
looking for that ball. And now they use a wide ball game. Nice straight up through the guts. They nearly get over. And the outside center takes it around the corner for Chicago. Through Barry, they stripe first. And Chicago get the first 5.
That was quite the finish, but it all started with this break. And this is Eschenbrenner. They really doing a great job running the ball, cutting in. This is smart, right? Like they see that they don't have a way out. They bring the ball back in so that their forwards can consolidate and win possession, and then they move it back to the right. The individual skills for these CARFU players is quite commendable. They're doing a really good job of presenting the ball, getting their bodies turning on the floor so that there's no question and no contest at that ruck, and that's what's led to this try. Wonderful team try.
And sails to the left a bit. CARFU keep it 5-0. We'll take another look here, Phaedra.
Yeah, just moving the ball out into the hands, and you see Barry spots that open seam.
Ball,
All
please.
she needs to do is accelerate through. She does that and won't be denied.
Minnesota slow to get back up to that line a little bit, Phaedra. I mean, day 2 feels, after playing quite a brutal match yesterday, and fitness and grit are really going to determine who gets away with this match.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, you played a full 80-minute, 2 40-minute halves, 80-minute match the day before. The recovery had to be quite aggressive with these players, and it's a relatively quick turnaround. So they're going to have to really dig deep today to find the gumption and the grit to pull it through. But they've got it. They both of these teams are capable of holding that win, that trophy above their heads today. So we'll see. It's very early on still, Darian.
Placeway really looking for a way to connect with their forwards. Gave everybody a high five over to that scrum, and it'll be a Chicago put-in. Referee had just had a chat about that front row maintaining their weight, and right there we just saw a hand go down from Minnesota, and so referee calls it back for Chicago. Nia Busy thought she wanted to go quick on that one.
Yeah, she's an aggressive player. I like her style. She's very involved in those rucks. She gets good body position over. She's always looking for work, and that's what you need in that number 7. You got to have a high work rate to add so that you play actually as an extra forward or as a dynamic forward and actually an extra back.
That's the chef's kiss of a back row right there.
Look first,
One that
look
can
first.
play not just
No.
in the back line, but also in the forwards. And Nia Busy does it really well. Chicago, after electing to go quick, they've unfortunately been pushed all the way back, and trying to get that ball back is Douche Swanson. Almost gets a penalty off of a beautiful counter ruck. Work rate really starting to show now
Get a little
for
lower,
Minnesota at ruck time. They call off and they get set on defense. And Grecky gives this one a boot and finds its way into the hands of Squirrel. Squirrel tosses it back though.
There, right there.
And ball nearly gets picked off. Minnesota have to get it on the ground. Quick contact. Doesn't get them much gain. And a big hit forces the knock on. Nia Busy's over that after Nixon knocks Minnesota. Minnesota somehow managed to hold on to possession here, but Phaedra, 3 phases now, and they just now break through the 50. This looks promising from them. Douche Swanson makes it work there, and that was a bit of hope that Minnesota need. Langelis gets a second touch in this passage of play. There's a high tackle called against Chicago, so they'll look to gain some advantage here.
Still advantage.
Chicago feeling the desperation. They throw in a few bodies at ruck time.
No.
Douche Swanson carves through a few. An advantage still being played.
Advantage
The offload
gained.
game now gaining them the advantage. This is good interplay there, and off of a beautiful bit of some offloads there. We get the first 5 on the board for Minnesota, and that comes through outside center Izzy Curry.
Well, that try came from Izzy Curry, but honestly, the number 5 lock, Swanson, was a real big force in making this happen, along with the assistance of Bell. But love it here. Curry coming through with pace. That number 13 on her back. She sees that opening. Look at this perfectly timed. Look, she stuttered, and she had no one out there. There was such division in that CARFU defensive back line, and we are in this. Man, what a match.
Minnesota have a bit better of an angle on this kick, so we'll see if they can take the lead with 15 minutes gone here in the first half of this Thunderbird Cup final.
20 now.
It's like Hill will take this one. The front row slides it through and get 2 points on the board. 7-5 now, Minnesota on top after some beautiful interplay.
Yeah, this is just gorgeous. Offloading and contact. Look at that. Putting themselves in a position to get that ball off, the support there immediately. CARFU here, just again, they had the breach in their defensive line. They've got to realign quickly. They can't commit 2 people to a tackle unless they can get out and recycle quickly.
Don't
And
want to kick it
that
again,
just
huh?
obviously proven to be a sore point for them up to this point.
Whenever you're ready.
Sun's out here in Lamont, Illinois. You really couldn't ask for better rugby weather. And so conditions not really being too much of a factor here. Ball bounces a few times off of that reset and then gets knocked forward. A bit slow to get up as the Minnesota player who knocked it on.
No.
And Chicago gained possession off
One
of
more
this
time, Bill.
restart. Looks like that was Hill that might have taken a hard shot there. But Chicago with the mishandling. They force it back.
Advantage blue.
Barry, the one who scored the first try of the match, helps them out of trouble here. The evasive footwork really working for Chicago, but a wayward pass gives them the advantage all the way back for the not rolling penalty. We'll take a look at that one.
Yeah, it's pretty clear cut. She did get out of the way eventually, but not quickly enough. You got to roll out of that area so that you do
Scrum
not
choice.
create any sort of obstruction from the attacking team to recycle that ball, and they're going to go here for a scrum. I think yesterday we saw a lot of wind and we saw a lot of unsuccessful lineouts, and it's probably a difficult kick to make from that center field position. So they're electing to go for the scrum. I think it creates far more options for them to attack on both sides. They've got weapons. This back line is pretty stacked for CARFU.
Yeah, and lineouts, whenever you're just bringing a group together for the first time, are probably one of the most complicated things to try and establish different calls from different parts of the country. So we'll see what teams decide to do when they get penalties. But for the most part, like you said, Phaedra, not a lot of people have chosen the lineouts. They've either gone for the quick taps or the scrums. And it seems like that feels like home for both teams from the Midwest here. And it gets stripped away from Minnesota, and they're excited about that one. They go quick throw through Placeway, and Placeway finds her forwards. They expose the ball a little bit. Ball nearly gets lost at ruck time, and it puts the pressure on this back line here. Minnesota using the leg drive.
Coach is good. Play on.
Might have gone vulnerable against Nia Busy, and Nia Busy runs away with it for Chicago.
One time, Megan. Okay.
Right within the 50. Chicago.
Understood.
Really using the individual skill. That one bit, though, Phaedra, that's really vulnerable for both teams is that extra work on the ground to get the ball back.
Yeah, you got to turn that ball in contact. It's something that has been really emphasized in recent years by teams. It buys you that split second, and we know at every millisecond in this game matters.
Really not giving a second on defense. Minnesota pushed them farther back. Chicago having to barrel some bodies over there. Nia Busy gets the penalty and then works her way around through. Minnesota get turned around. Nia Busy gives one final fend to Langelis. Langelis gets it, though.
Ball in.
And will now work it back for Minnesota in quite the turn of events.
Back.
Minnesota decide to use the boot. It's a good deep kick now. It forces Chicago to turn around on the backs. And Speed trying to use it around the outside. Referee saw an obstruction, though, that came in from Layden running sideways. I mean, all the way over to that other sideline, Phaedra.
Yeah, you got to be careful here. If you're Layden, if she sees a player in front of her, she probably would be more advantageous to turn up just inside in the number 12 for Minnesota, and would essentially avoided that situation. But sometimes when you're running and you're running a little aimlessly, you lose sight of that. Definitely something to reconsider on the next time. You don't want to be running sideways this way, especially when you got support outside of you and in front of you.
Time on.
Looks like I might have been Riosh there, just kind of making it obvious. I mean, working so hard to come up on that kick chase. Sometimes you don't even have to make the hit on the player. It's just the pressure that you put under them by taking away that space. And then Barry just seems like she wasn't even expecting for Riosh to be behind. And then gets that obstruction call. Here we see Minnesota go for the line out. They're looking for some territory. And the kick's a good one there. It gets them right at about the 5.
Yeah, they're breathing down the necks again here, CARFU. And their lineouts looked decent yesterday, but this one obviously failing them.
It's unfortunate there. Chicago come away with that one for Minnesota. Referee did throw a long arm up, though. And so it looks like the penalty was committed by Minnesota. And so they'll get the advantage right at the 5.
Yeah, and I imagine this is going to be a kick. Got to get this out to touch, and they'll reset on this line out.
And as you say that, Placeway snags that one out of the air. Using the hands now, the speed looking better, the draw and pass. Curry gets away there. Oh! And they might be able to do it. But the work rate from Chicago. That was incredible stuff that just came in. Phaedra, you got to talk us through this whole mess.
Yeah, here we go again. That was the try scorer Barry with that 2-on-1 into the hands of and then Paya, who was electrifying yesterday.
Kick it from anywhere
But
along this line.
Barry
Must go five.
it looks like Eschenbrenner got right under that ball and put her body obviously between the ball and the ground. That was superb defense. So I think they were answering the call from the previous attempted try in the beginning of the match when Minnesota held it up or knocked it out.
It looks like Nimpe instantly gets that one back. Ball goes a little bit towards the awkwardly off of the boot, so it just rolls forward right into the hands of Minnesota there. Speed looking a bit better. You can hear them calling for the ball to get moved to the left, but the swarming defense right now really forcing them to work for every inch, debating the offload. They elect to keep it in the hands, and a nice run up through the middle buys more meters for them. Minnesota continuing now as they look to slice through the defense. Ball came off of the knee. It looks like it might have bounced right into the hands of Chicago, and instantly Minnesota get called for a not releasing.
Yeah, I mean, they're just pressuring here, Minnesota, trying to get in, but you can see this great grab by the hooker for CARFU, but they did not allow her to place Minnesota, and
Blue, you have the line.
This is where we are. Line out to CARFU. Got that ball into touch this time.
Yeah, they still have it dangerously close to the try line. So this line out is going to have to really work for them here. They've got a forward pod set on the right side. It sails over the top, bounces once. And they're looking to get it to the forwards there.
Tackle!
And 3 of Minnesota players lift her up and then drop her back down. Now it looks like Chicago is going to have to make a decision here to kick and try and relieve some pressure here. And the defense. There's some ball movement down there. They're close to committing some errors here with this pressure defense coming in from Minnesota.
Advantage.
And Minnesota commit the mistake here by getting offsides. They get a little bit overeager on the defensive
13.
line.
Be more disciplined,
We'll see what
please.
Chicago decide to do here.
Well, that's sometimes the price you pay,
Yes, they
Darian, for really aggressive defense. You're going to get caught off sides here and there, and that's actually turning out to be a very good thing for
Advantage,
CARFU.
Blue.
Yeah, we saw a line break come in from the wing for Chicago. Barry's there to get the
Advantage
offload, and it
gained.
looks like they might have gotten an advantage for the high tackle.
Now
As
advantage.
soon as he calls off the advantage, though, Chicago knock it on, and so Minnesota get a slow second to get back to that scrum after some brilliant phases coming from Chicago.
You know, on second take, we
Purple
see this
11.
big break
Gotta go in lower,
here by
please.
Phoebe. Look at that. Stepping in, using the fin. You know she's not going to pass because she's got that ball in one hand, but she's very responsible in how she's managing it, moving it from one hand to the other to keep her body between herself and the defender. That's excellent play. And look at this great support by CARFU. They obviously lost the ball, coughed it up on a knock-on, but what a great drive to get out of enemy or their own territory and lessen the threat of a score.
I think we've got one a bit slow to get up for Chicago there. It looks like that might be Nowatzki. She gets tended to on
One not released.
the pitch here. With about 25 minutes left to go, it's a close ball game right now. 7-5 for this cup final.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
It's
one thing
so
about
close.
Kodjo's line break alone, I feel like, is just the balance
3.
that she had in order to
Awesome.
fend off
We got,
not just 3
purple
players,
scrum.
but then to also offload it as she was falling. I mean, a really good showcase for these two sides.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's very impressive. These players, they are players everywhere here putting their hands up for a position on that Thunderbirds team, and I
Coach!
absolutely love it. Not to mention, obviously,
Bind.
trying to win this thing today.
Set.
That's the privilege. That's the cherry on top to be able to compete for the final match
Play on.
of the weekend. Scrum collapses and referee says to play on for Minnesota. They've got some gaps here as Curry breaks through one and then offloads it to Nimpe. This connection working well. Nimpe cuts away from the sideline and offloads it back in
Leave it,
to
Blue.
Langelis. Langelis has to let go of the ball with Nimbizi and the work rate coming across to make that tackle. As now Chicago look to recycle. They're looking to play a wide ball game. The prop finds herself against a few wings. Finds herself against a few centers. Tries to get the offload there. And so it'll be a scrum after some promising phases came out of Minnesota.
Yeah, they're both
Outside, Blue. Outside.
both teams just really putting up good attacking fronts, and Nimpe with the big run, but the unfortunate mishap here on this knock-on. Take a look again. Look at Bell, man. She's a force. Keeps the legs going. Tries to get that offload, but it just falls short of the fingertips
Coach.
and dribbles
Bind.
forward.
Set.
It was a bit messy on that last one. Feet start moving, and both teams seem to be under a bit of pressure there. Again, running to the side, but she maintains the balance well.
Back.
It's Layden. And forwards. Trying to keep up with Nimbizi. Chicago's back line. Look to use some fends around. We're looking for the offload. Some space starting to open up in those wide channels. They choose to work their way to the left. And the playmakers, the fly half offloads it back inside to the scrum half. And Placeway puts that one quickly to bed. Chicago now having to work backwards. And some tiring phases and some tired legs seem to make the ball a bit slow. Using some behind the back passes, the centers
Leave it, Purple.
are under pressure. It looks like Barry might be a bit slow to get up off of that one. Huddle now has it, and she's dangerous with ball in hand. But Minnesota
Double movement.
forced Cottle to have the double movement there on the ground, and Zachariah is quick to get that one.
Advantage, Purple.
This interplay between the fly half and the A-man might be Minnesota's ticket on up. Tara Vicken gets over for another try for Minnesota.
Yeah. So we go back, Darian, to this penalty, and I don't agree with it. There was no double movement. She basically placed the ball and moved her body over it. But I'm not the ref, so
okay.
I
Thank
stand down. And
Appreciate it.
go back to Minnesota here. They reacted quickly. They transitioned very quickly, saw the opportunity on the left short side, Tara Vicken in for 5 points.
Yeah, unfortunate for just the call for Chicago there, as it cost them dearly with Minnesota. Now getting our ball game 12-5. They've got a long way to go, though, on this left-hand side. Ball looks like it's going to fall short, so score will stay 12-5. And Phaedra, I mean, still a lot of rugby left to be played. 10 minutes, and Chicago's been banging on the door. Sometimes when you get an unlucky bounce, I feel like rugby has a really funny way of paying you back. But Minnesota, I mean, they really had to work for a lot of meters, and they finally find some space, and they do good things with it.
Yeah, they do, and they're utilizing players that we didn't see yesterday that are obviously making tremendous impacts. Vic and one of those players, actually. But you see them taking this quick tap, and this is just an example of the interplay, right? From 10 to 8, the forwards are very dynamic on both sides of these teams. But Minnesota definitely proving right now to have that edge.
Time off. She's just fixing
I
her
think
stick over
what's
there.
key for CARFU is when they make these big breaks, they need to slow it down to allow everyone to consolidate, rebuild with some nice forward phases, and then
Time
get
on.
it back to their striking back line again. I do think they still have that advantage in the back line, but they just need to take a different strategy.
Yeah, adaptability really is going to be key for both of these sides. In about 10 minutes, both teams will
Tackle!
go to halftime, and a lot will have to be addressed from the coaching staff to the players as far as how they're going to take this second half or run away with it. Struggling to bring a player down was
Advantage
CARFU,
purple!
and they're a bit slow to get up off of that one there. Looking up, though, and marking Minnesota. They nearly get that ball there.
Purple
Looks like
captain.
referee called that one fair, but an earlier advantage
You got a choice of
came
here
for
or there.
Minnesota.
Okay.
Not rolling blue.
Time's off now.
I was wondering when he was going to
One,
acknowledge
you need
the
trainer.
player that was down.
Time's off till you're on side.
I think it might have just been a cramp. Nixon is up and strolling on back to the line, but fatigue and
Come on.
that tiredness really starting to set in for that front row.
Well, it's not setting in for that one.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say somebody who ain't tired. Right there is Essence Bell. Goes ahead and makes it very clear that it might just be one-sided. The backs use out the back pass, and Curry gets it. But a good defensive effort comes in from Eschenbrenner. And the ball does go on the ground, though. Looks like it got played back by Minnesota. Things working well for them.
Off foot.
They maintain possession, but really sacrificial play having to come in for Minnesota as this defense comes up in the face of the team in purple. They work backwards to realign. And now some space opens up there. Individual effort by the back line. Gets it into the
Post
hands
is good.
of the inside
Now
center.
up.
And unfortunately, Rioche
Leave it now,
turns that one
purple.
over to Chicago.
Play on. Play back.
And continuing to make some handling errors. Ball really not finding its way into the hands of many of the players here. Chicago get tossed to the ground. They're looking to play out of this end. Barry uses the boot, and it's a smart kick. Does get over the 22.
Play on.
And Cotto comes away with
No,
it. Gets
purple,
rewarded
leave.
for that attempt at the breakdown there. And Phaedra, right now we're seeing a lot of back and forth for both sides at ruck time.
Yeah, but that's great effort there. It's the second time that CARFU was able to get in right away. Perfect timing in that ruck.
Captain.
And-
That's the second again. Tackler not releasing. Yeah. There are weird situations where they're going to ground and they're on the ball. They got to be more disciplined about letting the ball go. Okay. Thank you.
Take a look though
And
at
you see-
quite the breakdown mess.
Yeah,
Come on.
quite the breakdown. But look here, you got Phoebe in that nice body position. She turned that ball over 2 consecutive times, got her positioning, just great response and reaction to get in there and
Back.
keep it moving for
Advantage
CARFU.
blue.
2 turnovers alone for Cotto. Now
Advantage
Chicago
game,
seemed
no.
to be wanting to buy in as well.
Keep working.
Ball movement and selfless passing. I think about 20
back.
meters there. But the disorganization and the flat line makes it so that the ball finds its way deep within the 40. Trying
No
to use the
purple, leave it
evasive
now.
footwork again. It looks like
Roll not
Minnesota
good
might
enough.
be slow to roll out of there. Referee calling it off. And these slow
We'll play the knock on
phases
here.
don't get them very far here. It'll be a knock on from Chicago, and Minnesota will get the put in.
Yeah, and this is good defense by Minnesota. You got two tacklers, are double teaming there. One going high, one going low, and that forward just stripped
Can we
the
do a mic
ball
test?
out of her hand, creating that
Good.
turnover. It's good focus.
Good. You guys are just quiet.
Already hands up and ready is Kajal. I mean, those hands have gotten them 2 turnovers already for
Fine,
Chicago. They're going to have to start getting the ball away from that one. She looks dangerous. This front row, a bit dangerous there against Minnesota. They quickly move it to the inside center.
Now,
Trying to compete at breakdown. They don't get the rights to the ball there. Getting caught with the eyes looking down was Minnesota, and it makes things very messy for them to maintain possession. As Chicago, like a wave, they try and stifle that one. Using the fend, trying to get it into the hands of Curry. The interplay and the quick hands. Get it into the hands of the wing, Nimpe. And Langelis is under pressure, but uses the fend now.
Phil, get that wing on side, please.
A nice little slice and dice between the back row players, 7 and 6. Kramer gets taken to ground.
Leave, Lou.
And now patience being the name of the game for Minnesota. Nearly forcing a knock-on off of quite the bullet of the pass was the fly half. The offload's a bit slow to come around there. They're not finding that explosive speed that they need to get over this 5. Chicago, and their defensive launch holding strong to keep the team that's in the lead out for another 5. Bell looks to ring and maintains the weight well. Works to
Now
get the
use
body
football.
around and might have nearly lost it, but she gets quick to ground. Placeway goes quick, slices through one, and Placeway places 5 for her. On the line now for
What were
Minnesota.
you saying anyways?
And Placeway, what a
the
name
wing
for
over.
someone who distributes the ball so well. Finally gets hers, but Bell here making it all happen. Had just enough. Look at that defense by by the number 8 for CARFU to hold on, because had she not held on to that ankle, she would have been gone.
When they're pulling it up.
But
Yeah, I'll keep an eye
there
on it.
again,
I haven't
Placeway
seen her
picking the
do
ball
that,
up
but I'll
and
keep an eye on
getting
it.
the try. She's done so much work all weekend long. It's very deserving of that score.
Thank you.
And that was Nabizi with the try-saving tackle on Bell, but it wasn't quite enough to keep the rest of Minnesota out.
Plotting through for another 2. Minnesota now bring our score 19-5. And that lead feeling a little bit more comfortable for Minnesota.
Yeah, they're putting themselves in a really good position going into the half. With that nice low diving tackle, you've got to be really wide open. Aware and not so wide open if you're CARFU around the fringes of that ruck, especially when you're
When she's
right
getting the
there on your try line. You got to make a better defensive stand, and that's what they're going to have to look at going into half. How they can regroup around the fringes
Whenever you're ready.
of these rucks to keep Minnesota
2
contained.
minutes.
Looks like some subs rolling on Chicago. Throws in Farnan, who took this restart, and the restart is at the 22. They get a bit more distance on that one. Both teams trying to get that short kickoff. They choose to go deep. Probably are looking to contain Minnesota, as Minnesota seem to always find a way to get over the line. Bell,
Off feet now, Blue.
such
Off
a
feet.
selfless player, and takes a few with her. Makes Chicago slow to roll out. And Placeway wants to test this Chicago defense.
Play on.
They go to the tool belt here, and with a nice chip kick over, Farnan is there to recover and gives a boot of their own. Ball goes far out. And it looks like it is just shy of the 22, so it'll still be a Minnesota throw-in. That's quite a way to get them out of trouble from the impact player.
Yeah, really big play there for CARFU to just take a little bit of the pressure off and actually put themselves in a position if they can upset on this line out, man, they can turn the tides and bring themselves to potentially within 7 points going into the half if they can score and convert.
Time off. You're good. Time's off.
Coach Trin, I think, thought that she might have gotten that 50-22. And Minnesota goes ahead and checks that one. As referee.
We got 30 seconds. Okay.
Communicates the time. And it looks like we've only got about 30 seconds. Very grateful for that announcement. As on our clock, we've gone a little over the 40-minute mark. So this will probably be final play. Compete at the top. Minnesota has to tap it back. And Kramer. Always good at resetting the ball. Hurry now has some space on that wide bit. Doesn't connect well with the wing. And ball goes backward. Chicago get away with it after Hagstrom has to turn around for that one. And Cottle tosses it back. We might have just one more play. That wasn't long for Chicago to get that turnover.
No, that's great defense by Cottle to get on that ball. She is definitely a force to be reckoned with in that back three.
Here we go, front.
Her work rate is pretty outstanding.
It's your line now. Take your time. 9, just more convincing for me, please. 2, right here. Play on.
Ball's deemed straight through the tunnel there. Chicago are the ones who catch it in the air here. And Barry gives an offload to Farnan. Farnan gets past one. Farnan gives a nice little bit of the ball doing the work and then works the way over for that last bit. And now Chicago find themselves right back up in the fight through the hands of Farnan.
And I called it a little while ago. If Chicago can put points on the board, they change the narrative a bit going into the half. And this is what they have needed to do all day, is use the deceptive running of players like Farnan to get the ball into the try zone. Look at this. Nice 2-on-1. She dummies, ball in both hands. It makes it so difficult to defend when you do that because you don't know. It's a triple threat of pass, take it in, or kick. And so she elects to cut in, carve up that defensive line, and she puts her team into a much better position at the close of the first half.
Farnan will look to convert the try. Slots that one through the 6, so 12-19. Minnesota still on top here in this first half, but still 40 minutes left. And Chicago now up and more than ready for the fight. We still got a whole second half coming at you for this Cup final for the Thunderbird Cup. Stay with us.
Growing up in Mississippi, my prayer was, for as long as I can remember, God, use me. Use me, use this life. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I know that there is a vision for my life that is greater than my imagination can hold. Use me, use me. What would you have me to do? And that dream, that desire, that prayer brought me somehow to television.
And she's gonna learn that this life will hit you hard in the face, wait for you to get back up just so it can kick you in the stomach. But getting the wind knocked out of you is the only way to remind your lungs how much they like the taste of air.
If we want to give all of our children a foundation for their dreams and opportunities worthy of their promise, if we want to give them that sense of limitless possibility, that belief that here in America, there is always something better out there if you're willing to work for it, then we must work like never before.
You might never fail on the scale I did, but some failure in life is inevitable. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default.
Movements for peace when all seems lost. Together, I do believe it is part of the American mission to ensure that people everywhere, women and men alike, finally have the opportunity to live up to their own God-given potential.
It's huge. There's limitations. There's been greater limitations before my involvement, which has stopped some athletes from being able to chase their dreams and having to go and fulfill a 9-to-5 job just to live, really.
So in life, you know, there are moments when you stop and ask yourself, how did I get here? Like, why am I standing here? Girls have the power to change the world. It is a fact. There's a really, really beautiful quote that I read recently, and I think it's absolutely appropriate to explain what I'm trying to say today. The hand that rocks the cradle, the procreator, the mother of tomorrow, a woman shapes the destiny of civilization. Such is the tragic irony of fate that a beautiful creation such as a girl child is today one of the gravest concerns facing humanity.
Most girls are smart and strong and beautiful. Most girls work hard, go far, we are unstoppable. Most girls are fight to make every day. No two are the same. I wanna be like, I wanna be like.
So actually, before I started playing rugby, I was just a cheerleader for my high school, and I was very shy, nervous, and being around teammates. Rugby is a very accepting sport. I wasn't embarrassed about my body or anything. People really welcome you and actually like take your strengths and weaknesses and work with you to like make you a better person and player.
You hit each other and then you're friends.
I really like the camaraderie of it, and like the game is just so physical and it's fun.
Definitely try it. Like maybe you don't think you're the strongest, but once you go out and like you hit someone, that adrenaline is so amazing.
Tell me about your experience with RCT so far.
Well, I think my experience can be best described as really fun and community bonding because I meet so many new people playing the sport I love.
I wrestle and I play football, and there's nothing like rugby. You know?
Yeah, everybody that I've ever met that tries rugby just comes to one practice has ended up liking it.
And I asked her like what it was, and she said like full contact, like same rules, guys and girls, and I didn't believe her. And then she was like, oh, come out to our practices. And I did, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to play. And then I started playing, and it was really fun.
I don't know, it's just a game that I love. It's pretty fun though, I don't know, I just love everything about it.
It's the laid-back atmosphere of it. You all be friends on the field and off the field.
Just the bond and the vibe from everybody is nice and builds like a lot of character.
You should play it. Play rugby. That's it.
friendship is
like how we can like beat fun of each other in the game, but then we like come together after and we're just like shake hands.
But what do you think that is? Why is that?
I personally think it's like, it's just, we're all one community, like it's one family. You all play rugby, it's just one family.
It's a sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you have to have respect for the person going after you, because you work hard and they have to work just as hard after you.
So you say that respect is probably the greatest value you can gain out of this game?
By far.
Yeah.
By far.
It's great. We all love each other. We all like hanging out at these tournaments.
Just meeting so many new people and getting to know them is just amazing. And meeting so many new friends is definitely...
Nah, one word is family. Like, you got people like you could depend on.
Probably my favorite part of playing rugby is like I can forget any problem I'm having at school or at home or just any kind of worry or burden and just like giving my all on the field. And
we all choose to come here. We don't have to be here, you know. It's just good fun coming out on a Sunday, playing, getting all together, and just great.
All right, so yeah, I think it's the fact that we can play very hard, smack each other up, boom each other, and just eat good and talk to and laugh with each other after.
So, one thing that rugby has done for you?
It's brought up a lot of my confidence. I wasn't very confident in middle school, and I knew that if I wanted to become a better player, I would have to bring up my game, which I did, and I've just become so much like a better person to myself. I see myself in such a bigger light, and I'm honestly so much happier playing rugby.
I ain't gonna lie, if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would like be around here, to be honest. So I guess family. New York Rugby Club is a great community.
Welcome back, everybody, to Chicago Blaze Stadium, where we've got the Thunderbird Cup final underway for the women's side. We've got Chicago against Minnesota. Minnesota's up 19-12, but it was quite the back and forth between the two sides.
Yes, Darian. Opening up the scoring frenzy was Izzy Curry for CARFU, but Minnesota had their own plans. And off of this valiant effort of Barry, Minnesota was able to put 5 points, actually 7 on the board. And then again, big number 8, Tara Vicken, taking advantage of a penalty situation and running it down, gives them another 5 points. This one, Placeway picks it quick. The scrum half gets it. But just when you thought Minnesota was going to run away in this half, CARFU shows some life, and they close in with the final try of the half to bring them within 7 points and making this really a really different game coming into the second half.
Minnesota, the team in purple, will be the ones to restart here as we get these final bit underway for the weekend here in Lamont, Illinois. Minnesota hit that sweet spot there. Ball bounces once. And Chicago
Play on.
lose the ball as they're falling into contact. And right there to pick that one up is Ishburner. Minnesota now wanting to answer back quickly after that final try, it seems like, from Chicago. They now are finding a bit of energy coming in off of that half. Seems like a bit of miscommunication at the ruck. This is so that the ball is under pressure, and they throw in the bodies at Chicago. And Chicago, off of that counter ruck, hit it from Minnesota.
15.
Looks like Langlis might be going to the bin for that one, Phaedra.
Yeah, that was... She held on to the ball, didn't allow CARFU to play. They may have wanted to go quick, right? And so anytime you obstruct, you're going to spend 10 minutes in the bin, and Squirrel very unhappy. That was just I don't think that was a very smart move. You can see she picked it up playing offside. She's called for the penalty, and then she gives some resistance to give that ball up.
Yeah, if you hear that loud of a whistle, just act like you didn't have anything to do with the ball. That's usually
right.
The hands-off approach works the best there. And I mean, just a little bit of frustration already setting in, I think, here in the second half. Minnesota, I think that they know that Chicago is dangerously close to flipping the table. And you just see that emotional decision come in from the Minnesota player. And so now that fullback is going to go ahead and have a seat for the next 10 minutes. Langelis forces Minnesota under some pressure here, because now they've got to play with 14 against Chicago. Chicago win the line out, give it to the forwards there, and Hedloff. Got exceptional work rate in the first half. Minnesota getting eager at around the breakdown. They're called for the offsides, and a nice little line break comes in. I say little, but that wasn't little. That was a lot of meters for Chicago there. Chicago now barreling over the top. It looks like it might have gotten held up at the line. Or it looks like that might be a try for Chicago. Chicago answered back quickly off of that penalty play through their fly half. And now it looks like we're close to tying up this ball game through Grecky.
Yeah, that's Grecky who actually scored, but this drive started with number 16, Nicole Edgecombe. She's running the ball, pulls in a couple of defenders, and then you see the nice quick pick by Brecky to run it in. She's able to really fight in that contest, in that tackle situation, and able to put it down for 5 points. And it's turned everything around. CARFU here.
Wind not being too much of a factor today. Farnan gets 2 more now, and our ball game tied 19-19 all. And Chicago heating up here in Illinois.
Well, they turned it on yesterday. Really, in the second half is when they opened up the most and scored the most points. And so I expect it to be a second half team. Minnesota really needs to just calm down, right? It's almost like starting over here. We're 0-0, 19-19. So there's no real reason to get frustrated.
Thank you, guys.
These are two very talented teams. They're stacked with the best players in each respective state. You got to expect some back and forth, but what you have to be able to do the best is maintain your composure. And if Minnesota can do that, they can fall back into that pattern they were able to really hone in on in the first half and have success.
One of the most important conversations that happens in rugby is the halftime conversation that comes in from coaches. And sometimes if you hype up a team to kind of go out there and get it again, that can translate to being a bit too eager. And Minnesota right now making a lot of emotional decisions there whenever it comes to their aggression. Like you said, Phaedra, they're going to have to rein it in against Chicago, because anytime they get the turnover, they go quick and they're really fast in open space.
Indeed, Darian, indeed.
Retweet.
Bind. Set.
After an error from Minnesota, ball did not go 10, and so Chicago elect for the scrum. Minnesota do a good shove on there. Minnesota get it through Farnan. And then Decado, this is good interplay from them now as the offload happens. They get at the 22, and the long ball placement gets the ball rolling again for Chicago. Nia Busy, who outworked the competition, it felt like, in that first half, still has more gas in the tank. Ball movement looking strong. They want to use the offload. It looks like that one might have had too much sauce on it. And now nobody wants to touch it on the ground. Ball finally bounces back up into the hands of Chicago. Minnesota now finding
Busy. This Busy just grabbed a defender and pulled her into the ruck as she was going down. Sorry about that.
She said, if I fall, you're going down with me. Looks like that might have just been the pass, I think, right now for Chicago. They want to go fast, but they're putting a little bit of pressure. These are teamers getting thrown around.
Look at this on second take. The Busy with the nice spin, and then she pulls her in. It's something I used to do as a player, so I take delight in that, right? You pull one more player out of play, and then you've got obviously a bigger overload for your team.
I love the thought process. I love it. Big fan of Nia Busy today.
Purple, I need this shoulder out more. Thank you.
Referee communicating to the front row. We've seen some back and forth from the two front rows there. Engine is going to really be an important factor for them. And the locks in the back row. This one, a bit more of a fair play there. Scrum is clean from Minnesota. And they choose to go to the boot. They kick it straight out. So we'll have a line out going to Chicago.
And it looks like the wind is picking up a bit based on the activity of those flags.
That's a fantastic tunnel, but too much.
Definitely need to
Thank you.
dial in on the skills and directness of this throw-in if you're Chicago.
Ball goes over the top, Placeway. Gets the hand in there. And the forwards at least slicing through the defense well against Chicago. Rush decides to just drop the shoulder, though, and brings the physicality. Farnan throws the body through, gets over it, maintains the weight well, and then gets that turnover. And now Minnesota find themselves on the defense. Take a look down that way. Just individual effort from Farnan to come over and get that ball. Chicago decide to put Minnesota under pressure, and the defensive line comes well. But it looks like Eschenbrenner might have lost her feet there, hands on the ground. And so Minnesota try and run this one out after a quick tap.
Let go, 8.
They do get over the 22 now, and they'll look to relieve some pressure here. Ball movement
Advantage
really
purple.
being their bread and butter. They throw in the body.
Offside, guys.
And offsides against Chicago, Minnesota. And Placeway. Try and use some speed. Curry gets a little bit of space. Barry comes across, and the outside centers finally tumble to ground. Chicago being told to get back.
Knock.
And a knock on due to that eager defense. And this seems more like the first half that we saw, Phaedra. A lot of back and forth between the two teams.
Yeah, they're playing. I mean, like, honestly, they have fresh legs. They're just back and forth, and one of them needs to settle.
Yes,
the one
blue.
that settles the first is probably going to be the one that's able to maintain and pull it out here. But what they need to do, really, look at this. We'll take a second look at this knock on. You see CARFU recovering that knock. Just can't do anything with it, so they'll get an opportunity to re-scrum or to scrum down and reset things. But what really worked well for them, particularly at the close of that first half, CARFU, is to let their forwards do a little bit of the work and get the ball out to the backs and let them use their creativity with their running style to open things up.
Straight down, far side.
And Negro straight down on Chicago's left side. And Minnesota are excited about that one.
Not purple.
Get a little bit too excited. And just like Deja Vu, they knock it on as well. Get a taste of that medicine is now Chicago. Get possession. Ball nearly finds its way on the back shoulder of Chicago. They've all got to turn around and get that ball. Brecky decides to offload at the point of contact. Eschenbrenner gets that ball off. Ball might have gone a bit wayward. And so referee will bring it back right within the 40 for that knock on, and it'll be a Chicago put-in.
And this is the time in the game where, you know, players are tired. Again, they're in their second day of second 80-minute match and, you know, in 24-hour period. You got to stop and you got to, like, just reset everything, you know, to avoid these costly little mistakes. They're knocking the ball on. They're throwing forward passes, you know, and when you're playing with players that you don't generally play with all season long, they're not your club mates, or some of them are. It just requires a little bit more of a technical approach. And I think both teams would benefit from resetting and starting again.
Both teams are really going to have to find some patience there. Finding a bit of patience and buying them a little bit of depth was Eschenbrenner. She gets a beautiful offload from Grecky. Grecky works hard to run that inside line. Grecky will go all the way. for Chicago.
And Darian, that's what I'm talking about for this CARFU team. They have the threats in that back line. Eschenbrenner was able to make this break off of this beautifully executed scrum. Take a look here, finds a seam, opens it up, uses that management of the ball in their hands responsibly, and gets it off to the flying support of Grecki, who knows where to be at all times. Look at this support. Beautiful pass and beautiful reception there by Grecki to take it to the house.
Shows us the way to take it to the house. As Farnan will look to convert this one. It's right between the sticks. She's 2 for 2 and goes 3 for 3 now off of that tee. And Chicago now finding themselves with a comfortable lead against Minnesota.
Yes, thank you.
And you see, again, it's about finding the breaks in the defensive line. And CARFU has done a splendid job all weekend long to seek those moments out and take advantage. They're not taking their foot off the gas, and that's what's key, maintaining that composure and continuing to up their level, each and every one of them.
Minnesota should be close to getting that yellow card back on if they haven't already.
Okay.
Back to full strength is Minnesota. So Langelis, the fullback, is now back. We'll hopefully bring, like you were talking about, sometimes certain players just bring like that extra injection into the energy and the composure of the teams. And we mentioned Langelis earlier. She has more than enough capability to be a game changer for Minnesota.
Well, she's a former All-American, and when you have the name of Squirrel, the only other person that I know that I knew that was named Squirrel was actually Emily Bidewell when she played. And, when you can play at that caliber, you bring that, you absolutely hold a very strong place in your team. They could really utilize her play and her expertise right now because she really led this team yesterday.
Charge down.
Grecki tries to give a grubber through, and it bounces off of the boot of Roosh. Getting tackled now at the 22. Minnesota
Last foot now.
are looking to try and secure the ball at ruck time. They nearly lose it. Chicago are throwing in a lot of bodies, and Minnesota finally clean up shop there as they look to relieve some pressure. They keep the ball alive, though, and utilizing a nice little chip kick through was the weak side flank. Hand might have gone on the ground, though, so she's called off for that ruck attempt, and Chicago recovers this one. Minnesota very slowly aligned there, a bit disappointed off of those string of phases. Looks like they're struggling to find connection again. Farnan. It's a lot of distance. It's over the 40, but Minnesota's back recovery does well. Now they look to move it through the hands. Nimpe has a bit of space there, and this is good defense. After it looks like that was Chachi Bethany Hedolf. Throws her into touch there and stops that one in its track.
I think that was actually Camille Miller. She wore number 18 yesterday, but she's wearing the number 7 today. Maybe I'm wrong. But either way, it was exceptional defense.
Play sideways.
Miller gets that turnover. Chicago throw it up, and they do win the line out, though it is a bit chaotic for them. Farnan slices through a few. Now using the speed, gets through another. Is now looking to connect with Chicago's back line. They do. This is promising stuff for them. As finally Barry is tackled.
Go 14 out.
Gets up and works hard to get around the fringe of the defense here. Farnan puts herself in the position to give a long pass. And this looping play really making it hard for Minnesota to recover. Cottle gets over. Cottle does it for Chicago. And you can see all smiles for Cottle. We mentioned her in the breakdown earlier, but finally gets 5, and you see what it means.
Oh, God, that's too funny. Well, she's done a lot of work for this CARFU squad all day long. I mean, all over the place with rucking and poaching the ball, picking up loose balls on the ground, and now she shows why she can do it all. Just turns on the jets, won't be stopped here.
Yeah, you're on.
This all started, though, with a big run on the right side from Farnan, and that's what ultimately led to this opening and the draw of players. Look at that.
I love the worshiping of the rugby ball, it seems like. Somebody's proud of that try. Put that on a postcard.
That's right.
31-19 in Chicago. Not allowing Minnesota to score at all in this first half. Farnan will take the time on this kick. This might ruin the perfect record. Ball goes a little low there. So now 3 for 4, though, 31-19. And these substitutes coming in for Chicago really showing the depth of their squad. We saw Farnan come in. Edgecombe was also part of that. We'll take a look at that individual skill. But, I mean, just the decision to give it to Cotto.
Yeah, and Cotto, it wasn't an easy pass. She had a defender right in her face.
Do you want more
but
or
it
less?
did not deter her from picking that ball out of the air and getting in for her first 5 points of the match. And that celebration.
I feel like she owes somebody or somebody owes her something for scoring a try. She pointed right to the crowd.
Yeah.
And showed that she means it. I think Jeff, you might have to owe your girl something for that. I don't know if you guys are going try for try, but she definitely did the thing on that one. Minnesota again commit the error of not making it 10. And Phaedra, this is when I think adaptability is going to have to come for them on this kickoff game. I mean, they haven't really been good about getting it over that 10.
No, they've got to maybe elect to kick it deep and just pursue, right? They have the speed. They definitely have the connectivity on defense, but they definitely need to switch that because it's just creating too many issues. They're turning the ball over with a 10-meter advantage here, or at least a 10-meter advantage.
Crouch!
And Chicago take a 10-meter advantage and turn it into about 30, 40, 50 meters, and maybe even a try. They do lose their footing, though, again on that weak side. And a lot of rugby has been played here at Lamont, Illinois, so they just decide to shift that off of that dry patch of grass.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
This one a bit better after relocating. Grecky waits for the ball at the back and then moves it to the left side. Eschenbrenner offloads it yet again to Grecky, and Cottle gets it again. Cottle uses the speed and finally gets tackled by Minnesota. Langowitz stops that one.
Timing was not right.
And timing just not right. And again, the frustration starting to set in.
Over the ball, then
yeah, again for Minnesota.
She needs to get there first. She was not there first.
And Cottle's just turning on the jets when she gets the ball in hand. Tackled nicely, but did a really remarkable and aware job of turning her body to preserve possession. You gotta applaud that. That is certainly the work of a player with some really good rugby IQ. Look at it again, man. She ran onto that ball. It was really a bit in front of her, but she turned it on. She goes down, and then she intelligently turns her body to place that ball for preservation of her team.
Edgecombe goes ahead and takes this one in, tries to find Miller, but unfortunately doesn't. Backline is there waiting, though, and they attack right at the line. Eschenbrenner gets it to Barry. Choosing to use this strong side. Grecki off of the right foot, gets through the Minnesota defensive line and gets over again. That's 2 for Grecki.
It's actually 3. That's her hat trick.
Ooh, put on the hat, Grecki.
Yeah, look at that, man. What? Just the continuity of this attack it's really booming right now. The beautiful blow over by Farnan, and then Grecki gets the ball and really has a tough defender in front of her, but uses the fin to cut inside and bolt her way in for her 3rd try of the day.
Threes all around for Chicago there. 36 now. They tower over Minnesota. And a big thanks goes to 15 points awarded to Grecki for quite the effort from Chicago. Farnan missed that conversion on the left-hand side. We'll see if she's a bit better off the right angle. This angle better for Farnan there. Another 2, 30. 36-19. Minnesota still on top. Or Chicago still on top.
Yeah, and just CARFU has turned it around. You know, since the closing minutes of the first half, they've just seemingly fallen into their rhythm, their connectivity, and their composure, really. They're playing from a place of just pure joy, it feels like. There's very little frustration. Even when they were down in the first half, you didn't see a lot of frustration. You just saw the wheels turning and their minds trying to figure out what they needed to do to adapt. That's been the big word you've used a lot all game, Darian, is to adapt and to really dial into their strengths.
Minnesota looking to find some strength. They recover off of that kickoff, finally being able to tap into it, and the backs go to work there. Curry gets a ball from Roosh, and Roosh now gets close to that sideline and gets taken right out of bounds there at the 22.
Quick soft, Blue.
Yeah, you talk about good use of that sideline as your 16th defender. Might have been a better idea to have set that initial tackle and set that ruck to go back right. You get into that 5-meter channel, you're in like dicey territory.
Not straight, guys. Not straight. What do we have, Purple? Captain! Not straight. Scrum or line up? Scrum it is.
Ball isn't straight, and Minnesota choose for the scrum now, and this is good attacking position for them. They haven't been able to score a try since that first half.
And they are a threat here, right? Off of this scrum, they're notorious. Minnesota teams are just notorious for how physical and present they are in scrums. They have a really big opportunity here to turn things around. They're not out of this match.
Still having 15 minutes to go here.
Bind. Set.
A penalty for Minnesota, and placement goes quick. They're not fully 10, though, off of that, so Chicago give an advantage to Minnesota. We'll hear the long whistle back here on the left-hand side, so they'll go back and reset, and Placeway running back to the mark.
One step, one more
like they're
step.
trying to find some space, and referee calling for Chicago to move further back here. They're a bit shocked by that. They get caught a little bit flat-footed, and now Minnesota, in probably the best attacking position they've been in all of this second half. They get held up, though, by Chicago and finally get their way to ground after Minnesota slowly comes over. Swenson is now there looking to distribute, gives it to a nice inside line to Roosh.
Tackle, release.
And Placeway dives at the ankles, gets on that post, and referee gives it to Placeway there, and Minnesota finally gets their first try over the board, and that might have been Swenson, who's going to go ahead and get that 5. Both of their playmakers were in on that play.
Yeah, well, Play Sway, I think, got stood up by the upright. You see it here. She takes it and runs right, or at least charges into the player, the defensive player into it. But then Swenson, woo, look at that. She just pulls the ball from between her feet and is able to bring it in. That is great body position to protect the scoring of that try.
Almost used Placeway as the try line on that one. Was able to hide the ball a bit. So Swenson will get our score 24-38. And just as you said, Phaedra, right now, anything's still possible. They get over for 2 more now. So 26-38 now. Minnesota now finding their way back into the race. And this is what they need for the final bits of this match.
Yeah, it's absolutely what they need. This is good work. Actually, this is the kind of work you would expect from the forwards, but the number 10 13. Getting in there, rolling up her sleeves and doing the dirty work, that's what it's going to require for Minnesota to come back. They're 2 converted tries down. What a match. And we've got, a little under 13 minutes remaining. There's plenty of time. They can score.
Looks like some substitutes rolling in for Minnesota.
We're going to hold for the sub. Time's off.
And referee has called time off here. As Farnan slow to get back on that reset. Now the last bit of the second half really boils down to possession.
Time on.
Farnan picks the ball deep within the 22. They're not able to gather it. It goes behind. And they're forced to pick it up off of the ground. It buys Chicago some time to come up. And their defensive line looking strong here as they launch against the Minnesota awaiting forward pod. Ball hits the deck a few times there. And Chicago not giving an inch. They might have gotten over for that penalty. And they do. Grecky goes quickly. Miller gets around a few. Miller's just going to take them all with her. She's just short of the try line. Chicago look to run a straight line. They get tackled backwards. And it looks like Minnesota got their hands in there through Essence Bell.
And she's been all over the place all weekend long. Essence Bell. Take another look here. Look at the realignment right around the ruck. She gets in, good body position, and contests for that ball immediately.
Minnesota look to try and find the line out. They don't. Luckily, Curry is there to toss Chicago on out of bounds there, so they'll get a line out, but it's about 10 meters away from where they're intending.
Blue 5. Blue 5. Give me a step. Perfect. Taking steps, please. Thank you.
See, CARFU's going to challenge this line out. They're going to throw the front jumper up. Try to disrupt.
Let's try this again.
And it worked out until it didn't.
Right
here. I predicted that one. I don't know. I'm not doing okay today.
Phaedra does have a crystal ball in front of her. I know you viewers might not be able to see it, but she just knows things that we all don't.
It's because of the yoga that I've been doing lately, I guess. Maybe it's the yoga.
She's very zen today, everybody. That's how she's able to just know things. She's had my back throughout this whole game. Really just, I mean, you're just showing out here, Phaedra.
It's called being old.
Vintage. Vintage. We're not using that anymore. That's right.
Vintage.
With the accent and everything. Chicago get a scrum about 10 meters out, and they go forward a bit on there and maintain the pressure against Minnesota. Backline now using the handling. Farnan gives a spin move. Bounces back inside now, and Minnesota look like they might have gotten their hands over top of it.
There we go. Now release.
And on a last-ditch effort, Chicago lose that one.
Tackle.
And Minnesota come away with it.
Play on.
They've got less than 10 minutes now. Time not really being on their side. A substantial point difference. And they're stuck down in this end, trying to escape their way out of it. They use the leg drive now. They're trying to find a way closer to the sideline. Curry gives a chip kick over, and Caudle is there and recovers well. Does the work on the ground. Looks like might have lost that one there as Minnesota. Roosh gets over that one. Impact players coming in for Minnesota. Really stepping up to the plate.
Tackle, release. No. Thank you, Purple.
Chicago will now look to maintain possession or extend their lead. Things getting a bit disconnected. The forward support well here, and they're going to continue to build those phases along. Stay with us while we get you into the next bit of this match. Phaedra, rub the crystal ball. We'll be back with the
It's great. We all love each other. We all like hanging out at these tournaments.
Just meeting so many new people and getting to know them is just amazing. And meeting so many new friends is definitely...
Nah, one word is family. Like, you got people like you can depend on.
Probably my favorite part of playing rugby is like I can forget any problem I'm having.
It's great. We all love each other. We all like hanging out at these tournaments.
Just meeting so many new people and getting to know them is just amazing. And meeting so many new friends is definitely...
Nah, one word is family. Like, you got people like you can depend on.
Probably my favorite part of playing rugby is like I can forget any problem I'm having at school or at home or just any kind of worry or burden and just like giving my all on the field. And
we all choose to come here. We don't have to be here, you know. It's just good fun coming out on a Sunday, playing, getting all together, and just great. All right, so yeah, I think it's the fact that we can play very hard, smack each other up, boom each other, and just eat good and talk to and laugh with each other after.
So, one thing that rugby's done for you?
It's brought up a lot of my confidence. I wasn't very confident in middle school, and I knew that if I wanted to become a better player, I would have to bring up my game, which I did, and I've just become so much like a better person to myself. I see myself in such a bigger light, and I'm honestly so much happier playing rugby.
I ain't gonna lie, if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would like be around here, to be honest. So I guess family.
New York Rugby Club is a great community because they put you around great people such as Alex, my coach Alex, and he teaches me more about rugby, how I can make my game better every day and elevate it to the next.
Nah, but like, you feel me? But like, I bet like you know how the hood is, so you know like it's crazy, like around shooters and all that stuff. So it's just keeping me out from there, and then changing from like me gotta worry about, oh I can't walk here, instead of just changing my life and being positive and don't need to worry about anything that much.
I think people really underestimate women in sports. Like in my school, rugby, especially the girls' rugby, is really strong, and I don't think a lot of people expect that that women can have the sort of strength or like sort of drive that men can have in sports. And I mean, you can see today, like it's pretty much even. Women want to, you know, have an outlet for physical contact or something to blow off steam just as much as men do, and they're just as physical, and we're just as, I guess, you can say aggressive as men can be, and we can be just as successful on the rugby field. So I think it just helped me learn that whatever a man can do, I can do it. It's no worries. I can do exactly what they can do.
Growing up in Mississippi, my prayer was, for as long as I can remember, God, use me. Use me, use this life. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I know that there is a vision for my life that is greater than my imagination can hold. Use me, use me. What would you have me to do? And that dream, that desire, that prayer brought me somehow to television.
And she's gonna learn that this life will hit you hard in the face. Wait for you to get back up just so it can kick you in the stomach. But getting the wind knocked out of you is the only way to remind your lungs how much they like the taste of air.
If we want to give all of our children a foundation for their dreams and opportunities worthy of their promise, if we want to give them that sense of limitless possibility, that belief that here in America, there is always something better out there if you're willing to work for it, then we must work like never before.
You might never fail on the scale I did, but some failure in life is inevitable. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default.
Movements for peace when all seems lost. Together, I do believe it is part of the American mission to ensure that people everywhere, women and men alike, finally have the opportunity to live up to their own God-given potential.
It's huge. There's limitations. There's been greater limitations before my involvement, which has stopped some athletes from being able to chase their dreams and having to go and fulfill a 9-to-5 job just to live, really.
So in life, you know, there are moments when you stop and ask yourself, how did I get here? Like, why am I standing here? Girls have the power to change the world. It is a fact. There's a really, really beautiful quote that I read recently, and I think it's absolutely appropriate to explain what I'm trying to say today. The hand that rocks the cradle.
Everyone, we hate for these things to happen, but Phaedra, through everything she had at the crystal ball, rugby gods heard us, and now we're back underway here. Chicago up 45-24 over Minnesota. We've got a minute left here in this Thunder Cup final. Minnesota looking to hopefully get some points on the board. They get driven backwards by a Chicago defender there, and it just seems like they're going to put the nail in the coffin as the final minutes tick down in this cup final.
Yeah, while we were away, CARFU managed to score another try to really put this out of reach, or a couple more tries. Actually, one more try to convert it, to put it out of reach. So
too early.
So more rugby left to play here. Chicago want to go quick, and they do. Looking to try and rally the troops. Now Minnesota seemed to have gotten a bit scrunched on the defense, the ball distribution. And keeping the ball alive, Chicago get it into the hands of Farnan. Farnan flicks one over the top, and now Chicago are off to the races again. Minnesota, Langelis is there and is desperate to get this ball back as Minnesota come and shut it down there right at the 40. Grecky throws a flat pass to the forward, works the way around the corner, and is there to pick up on the left, but unfortunately, ball hits the deck. Still in possession, though, is Chicago. The ball now trying to get to the wings' hands. They don't. Getting close to the sideline as Vicken tosses that one out of bounds.
Did she touch that on that pass?
I did not
see that. Okay. Then we'll put line out. Purple line out.
So still it'll be a line out for Minnesota.
Line right there.
Yeah, that was good defensive play, individual effort by the Minnesota defense to put pressure on and really force that knock into touch.
We are in dead time for what it's worth. Dead time.
It should be the final play
It's your lineup.
if Minnesota makes a mistake.
Blue right here. Thank you.
Or if not, if they score either way.
The way it's looking like Chicago might be our Thunder Cup champions. They seem to have clapped off. Might have been a player. Referee did stall time for that one. Minnesota throw this one in. They get the ball. And so they'll look to give a final answer. Looking now to move it wide. The speed looks good. With a nice little fend off.
Sideways.
Minnesota get the ball off through a brilliant offload by the replacement.
Tackle.
Young.
Back a step.
Minnesota trying their best to be patient here. The support's good. And the defense looking a bit scrunched for Chicago. Minnesota elect to just run right into the teeth. They chomp down on the bit. And now Curry gets the offload. This is good interplay from them as Bell does a nice little flick around the back. They get close to the sideline. Minnesota gets tossed out of bounds there. And Chicago, CARFU, they are your Thunder Cup champions here. Thunderbird Cup champions here in the Midwest. And Phaedra, that second half was the determining factor for Chicago.
Yeah, it took them a little longer to get the wheels going, but once they really hit their stride really late in the first half, Chicago just took control of the steering wheel and did not let off. And this was a beautiful try. One of the examples, many examples of the weekend that we saw. They have very much a lot to be proud of within this squad. A lot of talented players. This is Farnan, who did so much work in the back line today. She had some exceptional running lines, created some things. But I was quite impressed by several players for Chicago, Darian.
Yeah, and that'll round out our women's competition where Chicago takes it. We still have Indiana against Wisconsin for the men's matchup. But thank you for joining us on Next Level Rugby. And on behalf of our director, Aviana Sophia and Phaedra Knight, I'm Darian Lovelace, and we'll be back with you in less than 20 minutes for that men's cup final.